What's your best example of whoever designed this must not use their own product? Here's a fun one. We just installed a bunch of new Kronos badge readers at work. The type you swipe your ID card to clock in and out. Everyone at work wears a lanyard that is attached at the top middle by a plastic strap, and your badge must always be displayed while at work. Anyway, when you go to swipe your badge and the new reader, the card reader slot is too deep because the lanyard attachment on your badge hits the slot and prevents you from fully swiping your ID. So you have to take your ID fully off the lanyard to get it to swipe now. I've personally worked on projects at the Kronos headquarters. When I saw this design flaw, I was not surprised one bit. Between that and the usability of their web portals, it seemed pretty par for the course for Kronos. I remember an anecdote about an office having issues with their badge swiping readers opening doors too slowly or randomly. It comes over and realizes the whole thing is backlogged by days, and it's basically opening at random because it just caught up with someone swiping their badge the week before. I have a fan with a bright LED light that shows what setting it's on. Luckily, there's a sleep mode that makes the light dimmer, except another light comes on to let you know sleep mode is on. And that one is at full brightness. Just why? All TVs without at least the basic controls on the TV. Engineers must have forgotten the possibility of breaking or losing the remote. Bras. Straps can stretch out during a long day's wear. Whose brilliant idea was it to put the adjusters in the back where you can't see or reach them? Former lingerie fitter here. Bras get all their strength and support from the band. American brands, vs, have super elasticity, stretchy bands that are next to useless, and they ride up, causing your straps to fall down. Getting a firmer band will help keep your straps in place so they don't slide. Using a super gentle, elastic friendly detergent will help preserve it, and hand wash / delicate cycle plus air dry only will keep it going. That said, you're correct. The adjuster should be in the damn front. Most job application portals on company websites, forcing you to fill out redundant information, blanking entire forms if you miss a line or a checked box, not accepting common document formats, refusing to let you proceed without giving out sensitive information that's not appropriate for pre-interview screening, i.e. contact info for references. Clearly designed by people who were either recruited and never needed to navigate the website, or have been there so long they got the job with a paper resume in the mail. This is basically true for all enterprise-wide software systems. Executives who never use the systems decide what service to contact with based on cost and feature checklist, i.e., marketing/sales BS, without any concern for user experience. If it makes you feel any better, the employees on the other end of these systems also hate them. The makers of Wish.com. They're starting to get so desperate about having people take them seriously that they're making TikTok-esque videos with hot sexy women now for their ads. Who are they trying to appeal to? Hot single men in my area? The dishwasher in my apartment is perfectly designed so that the wire edge of the rack gets caught in between the tines of a fork every time you close it. Every single time. I can only assume the company that made it never tried running it with an actual load of dishes and silverware inside. Friends have a doorbell that rings dong ding instead of ding dong. It's not the wiring, but just the way the electric device was designed. I once seriously purchased a doorbell that played an MP3 of someone knocking on a wooden door when you pressed it, and a door knocker that, when you struck it against the door, activated a ding dong bell. Most women's clothing, oh it's sheer, and you can't wear a bra under it? Dope. And you want pockets? Sure. Have the world's most minuscule pocket that will sploop out your keys anytime you lean slightly. Reddit search engine. The system to get help with mental health, like anxiety and depression. For someone who has a really hard time with making phone calls, it's tough to get help when every step requires more phone calls and appointments. Not to mention how expensive counseling is. I'm in the UK so can get free counseling. However, I went through a bad time a few years ago. The doctor put me on the list for counseling, but in the meantime, started me on medication. After 3 months I got a telephone appointment for my counseling and had to mark things out of 10 on the spot. Like how likely is my anxiety to stop me going out, etc. I scored really low as I'd been on medication for 3 months and it was really helping, so I wasn't eligible for the counseling and the CBT therapy they said would have been useful if I was still struggling. I pointed out if I ever wanted to be off the meds I needed to be able to manage my anxiety. But it was a case of computer says no because my score wasn't high enough. Now I'm going through a bad patch again. My choice is apply for counseling and wait 3 months for an initial telephone consultation, or go on meds again. I cannot have both. There is no logic. My mother bought me a nose hair trimmer as a stocking stuffer. The blades ripped the hair out by the root. Toasters. Why oh why does the top half of the bread never fit into it? These designers should go out, get themselves a loaf of bread and a toaster before they design another one. There doesn't seem to be any that come in a different size. Don't even get me started on the bloody element. One side will be a light beige, the other side of the toast will look like it's been toasted in a smelting factory. The volume control on a car radio should always be a twist knob, not a slider on a screen. There's no way to use a slider without taking your eyes off the road. Touch screens overall are pretty, but absolutely shite as a driver without a passenger. A friend bought a new car with a futuristic touch-only control panel and all I could think of was how much it would suck trying to adjust the temperature controls while driving down the freeway, especially during extreme weather. We got these new pin pads where I work, and the slide parts for the credit cards is at a 45-degree angle instead of completely sideways or completely up and down. To make matters worse, a light illuminates the slide area, but when you're looking at it from the perspective of the customer it makes it look like there's nowhere to slide the card at all due to where the angle of the light hits. I've seen people struggle for 30 seconds trying to find where to slide their cards before I have to show them. Unfortunately, there are some functions where a customer has to slide their card and not insert the chip. The cherry on top is that these pin pads do not have tap to pay or Apple/Samsung Pay functionality. Bathrooms in brand new and fairly expensive homes seem to be designed for women by men who have no idea what the majority of women and some men really need. 1. Nice vanities but no real storage. 2. Walk-in closets that you access through the bathroom. So if one of you is using the toilet, you either walk in on them or wait until they're finished before you can get to the closet. 3. Beautiful walk-in showers with completely inadequate space for shampoo and etc. 4. Beautiful walk-in showers with nowhere to put your foot when you shave. Not about the bathroom, but in those walk-in closets. Nothing configured for dresses or long coats. McGraw-Hill products. I can't think of anything more infuriating and less educational. My teachers use them for absolutely everything. Yogurt lids that are hard to peel, that tear, or that take half the yogurt with them. God help you if your hands are not completely dry, as can happen when you're in a I don't know kitchen, for that matter. All peel off lids. The genius who designed the lids on our cat food made sure that the brute force you need to open them ensures that you spill delicious cat food juice all over your hands. But hey, it sure keeps the food safe during earthquakes. A peanut butter jar with a peel off lid in about 30 pieces is what made me think of this post. So frustrating. Hulu's GUI. Tried it for a free week. Absolute crap. Figure if you have Live TV you'd want to see a guide so you can see what's on Live TV. Nope. They recommended shows I'd like to watch. Eventually you can get to a guide, but there was no way to just select guide. I swear whoever designs the new parking lots has never driven a car. The new shopping area near me has lanes so small that large parked vehicles block people getting past. They have raised dividers between lanes that are so tight half the people hit them and drive over them. Turn lanes that prevent you from exiting. I'm pretty sure whoever designs the interior of public transit buses has never traveled by public transit. I have to assume that people from Google use Zoom and not Google Meet. Low budget apartments. Not because they're designed badly, just because the architects and engineers can probably afford a better place. Straight up. My first apartment had a kitchen setup that didn't allow the fridge to open all the way. Also, the toilet was wedged between the sink in such a way that I had to use a little stick to actually hit the flusher. Aside from that, the walls had to be made from wet newspaper or something. My cat put a hole in the wall from running up it and jumping off. Scented sanitary pads, they smell awful, like old lady perfume, but smell even worse when combined with menstrual blood. Many people are allergic to the fragrance and they increase the risk of thrush and UTI infections. Always has literally made all of their pads in the UK scented in one way or the other. Why? Don't they realize that people are actively boycotting their brand because of this? Every water filter pitcher, like Per or Brita, or whatever, that I have ever owned always has a million little nooks and crannies that get disgusting with, you guessed it, prolonged exposure to a wet environment. They're so annoying to clean. I have to get a butter knife and a toothbrush and scrub them, and it's just so stupid. Just make it a solid piece. I once stayed in a trendy designer hotel which was clearly designed by someone who had never stayed in a hotel. The only lights were dim as hell mood lighting, and the windows were floor to ceiling with blackout blinds, but no net curtains. So if you needed to see anything clearly, then your only option was to have zero privacy. Never staying there again. Target brand tampons. The plastic applicator has like a flange at the bottom, so it's really painful to actually get it into your V. But putting a tampon too shallow into your V is also really painful. Why the flange? No other brand has that. Obviously no one with a V was consulted at any point before all out. Never again. Target brand tampons. Toilet paper dispensers that are so stiff that the paper tears at every single perforation and sometimes mid-sheet. Google Classroom. It's cumbersome and slow. It's not intuitive. Keystroke commands and consistent. Making a comment within the document, tab and enter posts it. Making a comment about the document in the sidebar, tab and enter deletes it. You have to tab twice and press enter to post. Pads without wings. Slot machine designers. The actual cabinet, not the game itself. Also not them not understanding the end user, but the person who has to put it on the casino floor. Some of those things were definitely not designed with consideration to the size or flexibility of a human hand. I don't know how many times I've cut myself reaching and bending my arm around a piece of sheet metal in a slot machine.